Well, I might have actually been writing a little bit when I was a nursing student. I think I was writing a little bit of poetry. And a couple of my teachers, actually, we had to keep journals, like in places like the emergency department and the um, outpatient department, I remember. I wish I had those now, actually. But I remember one of the teachers saying to me, I have to keep this journal because it's so beautifully written. And I'm so sorry that she kept it, right? Because I should be the one that's kept it. But anyway, I nursed for about 8 years, and I was teaching nursing, and I really have no way of knowing how I made that transition, except that I was in North Carolina at Duke University, and was about to leave the country to come back to Canada. And I remember having my exit physical, because you had to have a physical when you arrived, make sure you were perfectly healthy on arrival at the hospital. I was at the university hospital doing graduate work. And I remember one of the Duke doctors who was looking after me there, or who gave me my physical, I remember him saying, what will you do when you go back to Canada? And I said, I'm going to write. And he said, oh, what will you write? And I said, fiction. And then I thought, what on earth did I just say? Like, that was the news to me. So I don't know, maybe it was written, who knows? I mean, I came back to Canada, and I think I was about 23 or 24 at that time. I was writing by the time I was 25, 26. Yeah, made the big commitment actually when I was 28, when I first studied with W.O. Mitchell. I mean, everything in it is, historically, it's absolutely accurate, because I'm very careful with my research. And so it's the story of one particular family. It's not my husband's story. I did interview him along the way for some details about the Fraser River, and I certainly interviewed, but I also advertised for other Japanese Canadians who wished to speak to me. That was not a topic that was discussed because there was so much shame and humiliation and grief over that. So rather than go to families and say, would you speak with me as a researcher about your experiences in the camps, this would be to Issei and Nisei, the first and second generations. There are no more Issei left and very few Nisei, if any. So my husband would have been Sansei, third generation. Certainly his parents are long dead now. But I advertised instead in newspapers that were appropriate to the community across country, and asked them to come to me, because nobody was discussing this with their families. And I can't tell you how many third and fourth generation Japanese Canadians contacted me after my book came out and said, I never knew, my parents never spoke about this to me. I never knew until I read your book what actually happened, the details of what actually happened. What I wanted to write about was, how do people experience this and get through one day and manage to get through to the next day? I wanted to look at, how people stumble through their lives and their days and deal with this. And of course, the book ends up being about hope and reaching out, and it's about loss, of course, but it's also about, it's about community and helping one another and reaching out. And that's a very hard thing to do, by the way, at a time when we are all locked in. It's sort of ironic that this book came out during COVID, when everybody is isolated and living in, isolated pockets all over the place, when my book is about reaching out. But even during COVID, we have to try to reach out to one another.